I'm Ed Fowler. We're at the Atlanta Blade Show. Okay? I started out when I was about 10 years old, when my grandmother read me the story of Excalibur. And I said, I'm going to make it. And well, about 40 years ago, I really seriously went after it. Now this blade is Woots, out of 52-100, solid 52-100. Grain structure is 15 and a half and finer. No microscope can measure 15 and a half, or below 15 and a half grain size. These little dots are after Henry.
How'd you get the dots in there?
Heat. I had to stay within 12 and a half degrees of critical temperature and hold it back and forth, right side, left side. They're both the same. And do it 6 times. And I made it. And I was cheering. I was so happy. I knew it was going to happen. When we etched it, there they were. That is Woots. The old Woots makers used to sign their names by the pattern of their steel. So if you had a knife, and I had a knife, and you pulled yours out, and I looked at yours, I knew what man made your knife. And you looked at my knife, and you knew what man made my knife. And we knew already who was going to win. Okay? I mean, sometimes they didn't work. And then later on, conscripts started fighting with whatever they could give them, and blades would break. But the knights, the top dogs, they wanted the great knives. And I wish it was that way today. If you bought a knife from me and it broke when you need it, I got my throat cut. We have that coming. I mean, we deserve it. If I sell you something that's worthless, and I haven't tested it, and I don't know where it's at, my fault, not yours. But my friend Chris and I have broken thousands of blades in the last 30 years. We know what this will do. This knife, right here, bent right and left, 180 degrees, 7.5 times. It required 75 foot-pounds of torque. It takes his feet right off the ground, okay? It did not break. It did not break. You can't put 70 foot-pounds of torque on a knife with your body. You got to have a lever to do it. But that's what it's all about. A knife that you can depend on, whatever, no matter what, it'll be there for you. That's been our goal all the way along. There is not one aspect of this knife that is not totally devoted to function. If you can find one aspect, and I can't give you a functional reason for it being there, you can have the knife for nothing.
How did you come up with the idea of the handle shape?
I couldn't afford micarta. I couldn't afford fancy woods. My neighbor had a buck sheep pasture where he'd, when they weren't breeding ewes, they pen them off by themselves. And they die, some of them. And I was going through there moving cows one day, and I said, hey, what do you want for these sheep horns? He said, just haul them out. That's how I came up with the handles. But it does, it fits your hands, it doesn't get slick, It's just as strong as the steel. I mean, it's the strongest handle material there is. You drop it, it'll bounce. It will not break. Just don't put it in a safety deposit box and leave it for 10 years. It'll dry out too much. But this handle has been off a sheep for over 15 years. Just sitting in my sheds, drying, aging, getting ready to be a knife. When I went to make this knife, I went out and looked through all that sheep horn. There's hundreds of them hanging in there. And I found the one that I wanted for this knife. And that's the one I picked out. You can turn it around in your hand. You can do anything you want to with it. Hold it here. Come up here. There's only one sharp edge on that knife. And that's the cutting edge. But this is a true Excalibur. If you have never told a fib in your whole life, if you have been totally honest, completely, you can take this knife and it will not cut your skin. But if you ever told a fib, you're on your own, it'll cut you. I haven't found anybody that hasn't told a fib. But that doesn't get any better than that as far as I'm concerned. I love it. I love sheep. It's the only thing I've ever put on a knife handle is sheep horn. Just because of its durability, its comfort. It doesn't get cold. You get a knife handle made out of steel, go to use it, it gets cold in the wintertime. Sheep horn does not. It doesn't get cold. You're insulated. And it's fun to use all the time.
Okay, young man. Appreciate it very much. Thanks a lot.
Hope I didn't talk
You did great. I just want to say, these handles, they just fit the hand so well. You put your fingers there. You've got the rounded part here that fits the palm. Then it's rounded here, and it expands a little bit. It's got a curve to it, but yet it fits the hand so well that it's real ergonomic. And as your signature pieces, it's rounded here, so it never cuts or injures your finger when you hold it. The guard is very ergonomic and smooth, and it's just long enough that it's very functional but doesn't get in the way. And I guess you could put your thumb there if you wanted to. So even though it's natural material and would possibly be very hard to fit to someone's hand, you've accomplished a great amount of comfort and ergonomics the way you did it.
That's all. It takes a lot of planning to build one of these handles. You carve it to fit the hand. Not every handle here will fit every hand, but there's a knife for every hand. See, here's the one I carry. I've carried this knife for 7 years. Look at that. Seven years. It's about a quarter of an inch shorter than it was when I started. Okay? But I can drop it just like this down on this floor. It won't damage the tip, it'll bounce. Okay? If you want to see it, I'll do it, but
Ed, thanks a lot. Have a great show.
Well, thank you, sir. Thanks for talking.